Right. I was on the mess that is Twitter this morning, and there was a post about bears, women choosing the bears because, you're more likely to be killed by a human man than you are to be killed by, not a human bear, than a bear, which, mostly because we come across a lot more human than we do bears. So there's a lot more opportunities for the humans to commit those types of acts than there are for bears to try and kill us. But there was a tweet. A woman tweeted exactly, if I were to come across a man in the woods, I would just end my own life immediately. With the bear, I'd at least try and strategize because I feel like I'd have a chance. And the thing about that, there was a bunch of men who were like, yeah, women are just deranged to say shit like this. And I think they need to take a step back and think a little bit. I mean, the statement is a little bit outlandish. To see a man approaching you in the woods and just immediately take your own life, that's probably not what's actually going to happen. It was definitely a hyperbolic statement. However, it did illustrate something that men should be able to understand. At least most men. Any men who have faced some extreme difficulty in their life to the point where taking their own life started to seem like a solution to get out of the difficult situation they were in. Many men, myself included, have faced this very situation. When I was 20, I was about to be homeless. I didn't know where I was going to stay. I didn't have any clue where I was going to go. I had some money, but I wasn't working at the time, so I didn't have any income. Um, so even if I did find a place, I didn't have a way to continue paying for it. So I was sitting there going, well, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to sleep in a car. I don't know how I'm going to find a job. I don't know how I'm going to keep clean enough to maintain a job. And when I was thinking about having to face all of these difficulties, I was one of the other options on the table very seriously was that, I was contemplating methods of how to best end my own life. It wasn't just whether or not I should end my life. It was like I was planning just as much, okay, if I'm gonna go that route, what would I do? And then if I'm gonna go the route of like making this work, how do I make that work? So half of my brain was working on like, where would I sleep? Where would I park my car? How am I gonna shower? How am I gonna get meals? How am I gonna, do XYZ? And then there was another part of my brain that was like, maybe I take a bunch of pills, maybe I use it, that was what was going through my head at that time. And the thing was, is it was the fear of the unknown. It was the fear of the situation that was out of my control. It was the fear of something worse than death. And the thing about women in general compared to men in general is they tend to be physically weaker than men. And what this means is it's a lot easier to be physically overpowered. Now, this is something that I don't think men can relate to as much. However, if they've ever been in a physical competition where they've been physically overpowered, they can start to understand this. However, some of us have been blessed might not be the right word, with experiences that have also helped show us what this feels like. A couple of years ago, I got into a scuffle with a roommate who had some mental health issues, and I just pushed him a little bit too far the wrong direction, and we ended up having a full-on fist fight. And this guy had been in and out of prison, was doing like hundreds of push-ups a day. I was like, pushing 20 push-ups was kind of hard for me. I wasn't a very strong person. I was smart. I was a talker, but I was not a fighter. And so I got my fucking ass kicked. He had me pinned to the ground pretty quickly and had a screwdriver to my neck. telling me if I didn't do what he told me to do, he was going to kill me. And in this situation, I was 100% at his mercy. I couldn't get him off me. If he wanted to kill me, he very well had the means to do so, and there was nothing I could do to stop him. And honestly, in this moment, I'm proud of myself to this day. I looked him in the eye and said no, and gave him the opportunity to either kill me or let me get up and go on with what I was doing, and that I wasn't going to do what he wanted me to do. Um, However, that's not the easy option. The easy option is to comply, and you if you think about that situation, especially from a woman's perspective, what might that mean? You've got a man who's overpowered you and is now telling you that if you don't do what he says, he's going to kill you. At a certain point, this scenario is starting to sound like, a fate worse than death. So, yeah, it's a bit of a hyperbolic statement to say, oh, well, if I see a man approach me in the woods, I'm just going to kill myself. However, that's where this statement is coming from. It's a statement of fear of the possibilities of a fate worse than death. If you are at constant fear of that being overpowered, I mean, to this day, I find myself every once in a while when I go to work out and do push ups, or when I haven't been working out for a while, I think about that moment when I was pinned to the ground and had a screwdriver to my neck and I was helpless, and that all I could do was trust God to help me out of this situation. And I think about how I don't ever want to be in that situation again. And I find myself a little bit more motivated to do the extra reps, to work a little bit harder, to be that much stronger so that I can never be physically overpowered like that again. And with that said, I don't think it's that outlandish of a statement to say, if I, as especially as a woman, that if I saw a man approach me in the woods, I'd just end myself. Whereas if it was a bear, I'd try and figure out how to get out of the situation, because the bear's not gonna rape me. That's all there is to it. The bear's not gonna rape me. The bear's not gonna torture me. The bear's not gonna have fun with me. The bear's just gonna fucking kill me. So, it's not that much different than by my own hand. But who knows what a man who's willing to kill me is willing to do.